Cindy Diane Ball. Will there ever be justice? It's been 10.5 years, and on this day of the 22nd is when it was believed that she was murdered by a gunshot to the back of the head. The question remains, was it just Greg Casto? Or did he have a hired hand? Where did it happen? Why was her body dumped on Sugar Camp Road? What did Chris Starcher have to do with this? He was the guy who slashed all 4 of her tires just 4 days prior to her coming up murdered. What about Timothy Chancellor, a guy who's been in trouble with the law a lot? It has been rumored that maybe he has a role in this. Let's find out this and much more in the Cindy Ball case. Join us next Friday at 9 o'clock Eastern for an update on the Fleming and Pierce case with a lot of new information. But last year we talked about John DiMarino, how his car was parked 3 miles away from Marianne Jones in Conneaut, Ohio. And now we're doing the same thing, 5 days for 5 years for Cindy Ball. Now, we had told you that the 21st and 22nd were very important dates in this case, and we're going to kind of look at the timeline of events here. So Cindy's birthday was October 17th of 1978, and there's been some confusion about whether she was 36 or 38 years old. Now, she was 36 at the time of her murder, and the tires, as we had said before, were slashed on October 18th, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. The next day, those tires were repaired on October 19th, and then 3 days later, on the 22nd, is when she was reported missing. Or at the very least, that was the last time that she was seen, which would have been at the Overtime Bar on Emerson Avenue, which is now closed. October 23rd, she had a no-show at her job, and on October 24th, she was found dead, and we're going to show you where that was. 22nd keeps popping up. As we made this video, March 22nd is actually National West Virginia Day, according to National Day Calendar. But that's not to be confused with October 22nd, so let's get back to Cindy. It's going to be an uphill battle to get justice for Cindy Ball. It's been 10 years, but let's start from the beginning. There's something really weird about these women coming up missing from bars. We briefly mentioned Gretchen Fleming's case. She started her night out December 4th of 2022 at the Front Row, and that's on Emerson Avenue, just 2 minutes away from where Cindy Ball was last seen leaving the Overtime Sports Bar and Grill. That's now been closed since 2014 when she left there. Just 3 years prior, on yet another Friday, we had Jalea Davis come up missing from this same city out of another bar, the Nip and Q, which has since been closed and changed into another bar. Now, this used to be the Stork Bakery back in the old days of Parkersburg, but you can kind of see on the sign here, it was the Nip and Q, and that was owned, I believe, by Suzanne and Wyatt Deem at the time. And these bars, they often change hands. It became the Blue Pit later on, and then it became the League Room after that, which it still is. But there's supposed to be a law where if somebody leaves your bar and they're involved in a vehicular accident, that bar is supposed to be held with criminal charges, I do believe. But that never seems to be the case, at least not out here in West Virginia. Now, the Front Row is one of the few bars that has remained constant and not changed, but here you see Tracy's Pub. It used to be Sixpence, and that's where Gretchen Fleming went and stopped number 2 that night in December of 22, and then she ended up at My Way, which is permanently closed, and it's now the Rundown. This restaurant here is called George's Place, and it has no involvement in any of these things, but they have that black and white tile floor, and I always question that. I've seen 3 places in Parkersburg have it, and it's like a Freemasonic thing, where they have the black and white checkerboard. And I don't know if that was the reason when they built it, but I always question it. Now, the colors of black and white are to represent evil and good, or adversity versus prosperity, and it's in the initiation rite of Freemasonry, and then also it's to recognize Solomon's Temple. For those of you guys who don't know much about King Solomon, he was actually a very evil man who was into the occult. Now, I don't think there was a black and white tiled floor in the Overtime Bar. I don't think that there was, but I have noticed this in 3 different places in Parkersburg. You're seeing the Dill Center right here, and then I've also seen it in another local restaurant too. So it always has me wondering, is it connected to Freemasonry or was it just a random coincidence? Now I challenge the locals of this town, go around to these establishments and find which places have that black and white tiled floor. It could be absolutely nothing, it could be just a preference, or maybe there is something to it. Another bar that's shutting its doors down is the Cocktail Bar. That was another bar that Gretchen Fleming had previously attended, and its owner, Zach Huffman, who's now in City Council, has announced that its last day will be on March 8th. And right here you can kind of see that Fleming was at the Cocktail Bar way back in 2016, so not right before she came up missing. And did you ever wonder why Insanity Tattoos, right across the street from the Nip and Q, got bulldozed under the ground last year? Well, it's because they were human trafficking Asian ladies up on the second floor of the building. So yeah, there's a lot that goes on at these businesses here in Parkersburg, and many of them are just right down the street from one another. So let's get back to Cindy Ball. It was Wednesday, October 22nd, when she came up missing from the Overtime Bar. What happened after that? So let's visit that October 2014 timeline. Her 36th birthday was celebrated on October 17th, which was a Friday. Then the next day, on Saturday the 18th, is when she caught a man by the name of Chris Starcher stealing her stuff and then coming back and slashing all 4 of her tires after she caught him. The next day, on Sunday the 19th, Cindy had gotten her tires patched and repaired. Now, the word patch is going to come up later on in this video, and it has a big reason as to why. Now, officially, for these 2 days, you don't really hear anything on the official timeline, the 20th and the 21st, but it's very important to determine what happened behind the scenes on these 2 days, because if we can find out what happened in these 2 days, we can find out a motive for Cindy's death and who was all properly involved. And that brings us to that fateful Wednesday night, the 22nd, catch 22, where Cindy was last seen leaving the Overtime Bar on Emerson Avenue with her purse still inside of her Jeep. And that takes us, as you know, to that fateful Friday when Cindy was found by 2 hunters on Sugar Camp Road, her body just over the embankment of a wood line right on the gravel road. Now, why was this man, Chris Starcher, trying to steal her stuff out of her Jeep 4 days before she went missing? What's his involvement with Greg Casto? Nobody went back to steal her stuff after she did come up missing. Now, some people believe that Timothy Chancellor is involved and had a friendship with Greg Casto. Chancellor has been arrested, I believe, for prostitution last year in Ohio. He had used to live in West Virginia, and that's when it was believed that him and Casto had a friendship of sorts, and that possibly Tim Chancellor hid some evidence of Cindy Ball after she was murdered and maybe poured it in concrete around his foundation out in West Virginia. Now, these are just alleged rumors. We don't know if they are true, but it remains to be seen as people are wondering who the hired hand would have been if there was another man who helped in the murder of Cindy. But it's the third suspect that seems the most likely of all, Ryan Perkins, who last December got a charge of strangulation. Now, if you're going to strangle somebody, you're probably trying to kill them. So that builds a little bit of an MO right there. It's believed by many around here that Ryan Perkins was sitting in the back seat while Cindy was sitting passenger and shot her right at the beginning of the brainstem where it meets the spinal cord and through the chest there, as the autopsy will show. And it even says, shot by other or others with shotgun ammunition. Now, it was believed that a portion of the evidence, whether it was the actual shot or information talking about it, was recorded on a SIM card. And this woman, Geneva Diane Carpenter, was reportedly in possession of that SIM card. And she was threatened of her life multiple times to either confiscate or turn it over, and she was terrified. She was scared to death is what we were been told, and that's all we know. We don't know what happened to it. We don't know what happened to Cindy's Jeep. We don't know anything right now. We're just trying to connect the dots and find some of this stuff. If we can find it, that's a smoking gun. Then you've got proof as to who did it and what the motive was. When somebody had told us they knew where Cindy Ball was disposed of more than 10 years ago, we were all about heading to this area in Wirt County to try to find out where this was. On our way, we saw bridges, as we cross state line or county lines from Wood County to Wirt County. There's a chain link bridge on there. There's a footbridge there. You see the foothills of the Appalachians in the distance. We came across plenty of junk. Lots of vehicles here. Now we know where to go for parts. But not every road was paved. Here was another paved road where we saw lots of oil wells. Another chain link bridge there. More oil wells. They're all over in Wirt County. This is where oil was first drilled, actually. Here's an old bus of the Easy Rider bus from Parkersburg, West Virginia. And that's what the old ones used to look like, sitting out all the way out here in Wirt County, out by the Hughes River. But then we finally found Sugar Camp Road, and somebody had showed us on what West Virginians call a side-by-side. Back in the day, we used to call things like these like four-wheelers. I guess they look a little bit different now. Back in the 80s and even the 90s, we didn't really have side-by-sides. We just had traditional 3- and 4-wheelers. But here on Sugar Camp Road, you can see it's not a paved road. Now that right there is the hill where they gathered for a poker run. And that was the night she was essentially murdered by a shotgun to the back of her head. Now, we know the person of interest. And we'll call him GC because he has not been charged yet. And we believe he works as an electrician at Camden Clark Hospital in Parkersburg. But we also believe he didn't want gunpowder residue on his hands. So he would have had a second, maybe even a third person, but probably just a second person to do the deed for him. Now, we theorize between 3 different individuals. Now, locals will know that Casto was a member of a motorcycle gang called the Brothers of the Wheel. Now, after they found out what may have happened in this crime, they got rid of Greg Casto. They kicked him out, and another motorcycle club had picked him up. And we found out that when they found out what happened, he got patched. And you ask, what is patched? I didn't know myself. I had to ask. Well, a patch means that you get a patch put on the back of your motorcycle jacket based off meritorious things, I suppose. And from the club that Casto had rumored to have joined, he got patched for apparently murdering somebody. So I'm going to let you know what club that was here in 1 second. Okay, so it's the Horse Creek Motorcycle Club, HCMC, based out of Athens, Ohio, and they are affiliated with the Outlaws Biker Club. Now, the Outlaws Biker Club, I don't understand much about these motorcycle gangs, but I think they are like a rival of Hell's Angels, I do believe. So when Casto got kicked out of Brothers of the Wheel, probably for what he did, we are alleging, then the Horse Creek Motorcycle Club appears to have adopted him. So this is Sugar Camp Road just off of Brohard Road. And then right here is a clearing. And then we are real close to where Cindy Ball was murdered. So her body wasn't here on this side, but it was over here on this side. And this is where they had the poker run, and we're trying to put it together. So her body was right past this open grassy area and into the wood line. And I'm going to go down there and kind of show you how the hill drops off a little bit. But you got to think, vehicles kind of park right up in here because it's more flat. Right down in here is a bit of a drop off. But it had to have been probably 2 people because the guy who we believe it was the entire time, he wouldn't have wanted the gunpowder residue on his hands, so he would have needed a second person to do the job to dispose of Cindy Ball. And we've got 2 to 3 people in mind, but this is the ridge line right here. One of those guys we wonder, Ryan Perkins, he was just arrested last December for a strangulation charge. And I'm sorry, if you want to strangle somebody, that means you're trying to kill them. So he's got the MO already. Ryan is his middle name. I can't remember his first name offhand, but we're just going to go ahead and look around now. This is been combed over by detectives and everything. But I just want to kind of show you guys what it looks like here at the end of March before the vegetation grows up. And you can see there's some bare dirt spots right in here. There's something up in here. What's this? Phillips multiplex. Yeah, I don't know. NLGI number 2. Not sure what that is. That's why I do, oh, there's another one. That's why I do these videos, is because sometimes you just never know what you might see. Just some trash, Gatorade bottle. Some beer cans out in here. So she would have been kind of over the hill, but she had a report of her tires getting slashed on October 18th, is what we heard. And then she came up missing on the 22nd, and she was found essentially the next day on the 24th. And then you can kind of see there's a path right up in here. Let me get back down in here a little more and see if there's anything more we can find. So we had some friends show us this area, and so her body would have been right down in here. And I'm not sure what clothes she was wearing or anything like that. It's a glass bottle. No, plastic. Propel. So you can tell people do come out here. And you can see just how far down it goes. There's the normal hills that you would expect out in here. Not going to go real far down here, but I just wanted to see if there was anything out of the ordinary. Because right now, you can see the ferns and stuff, they're just now starting to come back up. So this is the time to go looking if you're going to like search for clues or anything, just anything that could be left over, you know. It's been 10 years now. It was October of 2014. So it's been a little bit more than 10 years since she was murdered and disposed of in this area off of Sugar Camp Road. And 2 hunters found her, but I guess we're being told the way hunters like to do is they kind of like to survey the area, kind of do a little walkabout, because we don't really know if they came up through the woods, but our guess is they probably would have parked right up here. Would have been just another day and a half after she was dumped out here in the middle of the night. But there's a long history of her being abused by the person of interest in this case. Many times she would be saying she needs help and she's been beat on and all that stuff. So we know who was behind it. We just don't know if he had a second set of hands, and we think that he did. Apparently there's a SIM card that had the evidence of the actual murder, but I don't know where that SIM card is. So, all right, I think that's the end of the search for this one, here off the end of Sugar Camp Road. We've got the hills that go down here. I'd like to come back out here and maybe search again, but I wanted you guys to kind of see the lay of the land and where Cindy Ball was found.
Stay another round. 'Cause who wants to live forever? Who wants to burn it down, 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 down? And we can't paint the town. 'Cause who wants to sing the blues? So some you win, or some you lose. It's all a cash.
Yeah, I could be getting on, but I'm getting rounds. Call it immature, sure, but hear me out. 'Cause the only thing promised is a here and now. If we didn't live it up, never live it down. Yeah, and when I jump, I hold on. I'm like, oh my lord, if it all goes wrong, then it's all my fault, man. Some just wanna watch it well burn, but some on the straight and narrow lost first turn. So before you play, take a page of my own advice. It's all a game, know the price when you roll the dice. And what's the rush, man? Nowhere else to go tonight. And we ain't getting out on time, let alone alive. The choice is yours, you down for the cause. Be hated or adored, but never ignored. And whatever cards you draw, you can't win them all. So lead us out songs at the door, get involved and
Stay, stay, stay another round. Cause who wants to live forever? Who wants to burn it down, 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 down? And we can paint the town. Cause who wants to sing the blues? So some you win, or some you lose. It's all a catch-22.
Are you not happy where you at? Huh? Fuck it off then. Just make enough for nothing when you cut your losses. You haven't got it made, but you got your options. Ditch smokes for sleep, ditch shots for CrossFit. What you trying to live longer? Take a bow. What's the point of all those years if you spend them missing out? Some of it's worth the risk, hoping you don't forget. Bad as the world can get, none of it's permanent. So no politics or parties, even if we solving world problems with a lager on our lips. And for all the easy ways out, the harder that it gets. Now isn't that ironic? No Alanis Morissette, we a hard act to follow. Pour in the bottle, YOLO the motto. Could all land tomorrow. Set your watch fast, stay ahead of your time. If you wait, might never arrive. That's the vibe. So stay,
stay, stay another round. Cause who wants to live forever? Who wants to burn it down, 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 down? And we can paint the town. Cause who wants to sing the blues? So some you win, or some you lose. It's all a catch-22.
Hard to keep up with the wild desperado. Taking curves at 80 mile an hour plus. Engine block scraping, making asphalt dust. Metallic horse gallop in a hillside. Pipe echo from the trees shaking as we all roll by. Moss on my roof.